Hi, this is Hoda Rubino from DevilsDigest.com, reporting from the Rose Bowl, where Arizona State, for the first time this year, drops a second consecutive contest tonight, falling to the UCLA Bruins 42-32. And this really was a game that showed no progress from last week. Arizona State had a very demoralizing loss, if you will, to Utah, 21-3, a game where they committed 12 penalties, a game where they had a lot of issues moving the ball on offense. And over here in the Rose Bowl, it really was more of the same for the Sun Devils. Arizona State entered the game at Utah last week, being the least penalized team in the Pac-12. Last week at Utah, they committed 12 penalties. Tonight at the Rose Bowl, 9 penalties, 6 in the first half alone. Arizona State started the game on offense, and their first 2 plays of the night were back-to-back full starts, and that really set the tone for the Sun Devils tonight in the Rose Bowl. But when it comes to the offense, yes, they scored 25 points in the second half, so maybe there was some progress shown after halftime adjustments and whatnot, but the first half only scoring 7 points and really having the defense be absolutely dominated by UCLA and the running back, Josh Kelly, who in the first half alone ran for over 100 yards and 3 touchdowns. That was really just too much of a hole for Arizona State to dig out of. We talked to both offensive coordinator Rob Likens and defense coordinator Danny Gonzalez. Rob Likens talked about absolute lack of execution, not being able to convert third and short situations time and time again. And even when Arizona State was on the 1-yard line of UCLA, Eno Benjamin said that he handed the ball to the ref. The ref really interpreted that as throwing the ball at him. ASU gets moved 15 yards, and instead of scoring a much-needed touchdown, have to set up for a field goal. You have on defense at least 2 crucial 15-yard penalties coming on third down. Safety Ashari Croswell kicking the ball over to the UCLA side. Kellen Chris Thomas having a late hit on the UCLA quarterback. And Arizona State finds itself shooting itself in the foot time and time again. As I mentioned, the running game for UCLA was extremely dominant, extremely impressive, and really showed a lack of physicality on the line of scrimmage for the Arizona State defense. I think that when it comes to the Arizona State offense, the offensive line protected much better than they did against Utah, and they really should have, because this UCLA defensive line was definitely nowhere close to that of the Utes in their caliber. But at the same time, you have Eno Benjamin with a very, very quiet game, having 46 yards rushing. The running game really never got established. Now, I thought Arizona State really needed to come in on offense with the mentality that when they're facing the 11th ranked pass defense in the conference, that they should really try to pass the ball as much as they can and not really worry about establishing the run that much. But that approach was not taken. Benjamin had a fumble early on in the game. Again, just really setting the tone for the entire evening for Arizona State on that side of the ball. And even though the passing game did improve quite a bit, Jaden Daniels did throw for 3 touchdowns tonight. Did not turn over the ball, but it really was too little, too late. Going back to the defense, look, when you have one of the masterminds in college football when it comes to the offense, and Chip Kelly as a head coach, you can definitely expect a team like UCLA to really pull its bag of tricks and really catch the Arizona State defense napping, if you will, in some occasions. But I really think that nobody expected UCLA to be as dominant as they were on offense. This is a team that coming into tonight was 2-5, and yes, there were also 2-2 in Pac-12 play, so they have been playing better as of late. But this Arizona State defense has not been dominated by a team like this, maybe even ever, since Herm Edwards arrived. And it was really disappointing to see in a game that really, I thought, could define Arizona State's season, and right now really defines it in a very, very adverse way. Arizona State has a tough November slate ahead of them. Yes, few of those games are in the friendly confines of Sun Devil Stadium, but you're playing USC. You're playing Oregon. You're playing Arizona. Your lone road game is going to be a very bitter, cold game, maybe adverse weather conditions on top of that. In Corvallis playing Oregon State. So as Arizona State enters its second and last bye week of the season, they really have to take a hard look in the mirror to see where they're at as far as a team. We talk so many times about the sport of football not only being physical and violent, but also requiring a lot of mental fortitude. And I think in the last 2 weeks, Arizona State unfortunately proved that they have not honed on the mental aspect of this game. And when you see the slew of penalties against Utah, the slew of penalties against UCLA, digging themselves such a deep hole in the first half, you definitely have to be disappointed in that aspect. So a huge bye week with a huge to-do list is awaiting Arizona State, and we'll see if they can really correct everything that needs to be remedied in time for what I said is going to be a very crucial and challenging home stretch in November. Reporting for the Rose Bowl for Devil's Digest, this is Jorge Rubino. We'll talk to you next week.